It's Hunk time.
The mission objective takes priority over everything else. Holding to that principle is why I have never failed a mission. The death cannot die.
Deadly and lethal, with a tenacity for completing the mission by any means necessary, this fan-favorite character from Resident Evil certainly deserves some more recognition. This incredibly powerful agent of destruction was first introduced to us in Resident Evil 2, and has appeared sparsely throughout the franchise, including Resident Evil 4's Mercenary mode. Although his appearances are quite limited, that doesn't diminish his lasting impact on the series, as Hunk is a major player within the Resident Evil universe that has left an indelible mark on the franchise. From his earliest known origins to his latest sightings, join me as we take a closer look into what makes Hunk the Grim Reaper himself, Mr. Death. It's Hunk time. What does Hunk mean? Is it an acronym for something? Well, no one knows as to how Hunk ended up getting his name, nor can I tell you much surrounding the character's upbringing, nor his real name. Of what information we do have brings us to the year 1996 on Rockfort Island, an island in the South Pacific taken over by the Umbrella Corporation to accommodate Umbrella's growing paramilitary. Rockfort Island is also the setting of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Our first known history of Hunk dates here on Rockfort Island, where he received training at the military training center under Umbrella. This is where Hunk got his codename as an operator for the USS, an abbreviation for Umbrella Secret Service. It was on this island that Hunk carried out a number of successful operations, in which he was often the only man left alive. The rigorous training he received while at the military training center shaped Hunk into a nearly unkillable machine of murder, in which he was usually the only man left standing, earning him another nickname, Grim Reaper, or simply Mr. Death. Because of his incredible prowess and accomplishments, Hunk soon became the leader of the Alpha Team under Umbrella, a team that would face incredible challenges 2 years later in 1998. The night of September 22nd, 1998 is where Hunk was first seen thrown into the spotlight, and the events that unfolded that night resulted in one of the worst catastrophes of mankind. These very events shaped what came to be Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 in Raccoon City. To better get the context behind Hunk and his legendary status, we need to first go over the events that transpired that eerie night in Umbrella HQ, in what is known as Operation Nest Wrecker. The operation was a mission undertaken by Hunk's team as the first USS Squad, part of Umbrella's elite security force. The Alpha Team was tasked with infiltrating Umbrella's nest and stealing the G-Virus from Dr. William Birkin. Why was the retrieval of the G-Virus necessary, you might ask? The G-Virus is the code name for Golgotha virus, and was a bioweapon developed by Umbrella USA to surpass the Tyrant virus, or simply known as T-Virus. Whereas the T-Virus causes more minor mutations to human hosts, like zombies and tyrants, the G-Virus causes incredible mutations to the human body, often being able to mutate into forms unrecognizable to their initial human hosts. While the T-Virus was quite infertile, the G-Virus was highly fertile and could reproduce with ease. The T-Virus causes necrosis of the body as a side effect, of which refers to the death of body tissue due to illness, injury, and infection that can cause serious harm to one's skin, bones, and organs. The G-Virus, on the other hand, was considered one of the greatest threats to not only mankind, but the world if an outbreak were to happen of this virus. That's where Operation Nest Wrecker comes into play. The man behind the creation of the G-Virus was Dr. William Birkin, the lead scientist behind that strand of virus at Umbrella. See, Umbrella became highly suspicious of Dr. Birkin because the company believed that, even after having canceled the project, Dr. Birkin was still secretly developing the G-Virus. A correct suspicion indeed, because Dr. Birkin had continued the research of the G-Virus, defying orders from Umbrella HQ for him to be removed from the project. To try to get away with his research in secret, Dr. Birkin ordered his staff not to respond to emails from Umbrella headquarters. There were some spies that leaked some of the G-Virus information to Umbrella HQ, of which Birkin promptly dealt with by executing those disloyal to Birkin's project. Umbrella spies within the US military quickly learned that Birkin was in talks with the military, offering to sell the G-Virus as a bioweapon. Umbrella HQ sent a direct order to Birkin, demanding he report to Umbrella within 24 hours. Of course, William Birkin never responded. Umbrella HQ thus prepared to take over the G-Virus by force. It was at 11:45 p.m. on the night of September 22, 1998, that Hunk and his Alpha team infiltrated the lab with their orders to secure the G-Virus and to make sure that Dr. Birkin was alive. The clip you are about to see covers the perspective of Agent J. Martinez as the squad infiltrates Dr. Birkin's lab, with Hunk at his right. In this scene, Hunk is the only one talking, along with Dr. Birkin.
Got eyes on the G-Virus.
Going in.
Dr. Birkin, you'll come along with us quietly.
You think I didn't know you were coming? This is my life's work. I'm not handing over anything.
We have our orders, Dr. Birkin. I'll ask you one more time. Hold your fire! What the fuck were you thinking? Our orders were to bring him in alive. We're in, sir. But we had a snafu. Target resisted. We had to take him out. That's correct, sir. Roger that. Just the samples, then. Let's move.
William Birkin clearly resisted the orders of his force, and upon drawing his handgun, the doctor was quickly shot down by J. Martinez, and was scolded by Hunk, as the goal was to secure the virus with Birkin alive. Regardless, the case containing the virus was unscathed, and was taken by A. Kirkpatrick. Little did Alpha Team know upon leaving the scene that Birkin had barely managed to survive the attack, and with what little energy Dr. Birkin had left in him, injected a sample of the G-Virus into his bloodstream that Alpha Team failed to recover. It was this very moment that changed the course of the night in the few days left of Raccoon City as we knew it. William Birkin's wife, Annette Birkin, had suspected that William had injected himself with the G-Virus as a last-ditch effort to stay alive, but regrettingly did not pull the trigger on him when she had the chance. Instead, William, already partially mutated from the G-Virus's incredible growth, stalked the halls and eventually caught up to the members of Alpha Team and slaughtered every member of the squad. Every member other than Hunk, that is. In this footage here, we can see through the perspective of A. Kirkpatrick, the one that retrieved the briefcase containing the G-Virus, was fatally struck by William while in the sewers trying to escape. Unfortunately, Kirkpatrick was unable to close off the case to prevent the samples within from leaking out, contaminating the sewer rats, which then infected the drinking water of Raccoon City, leading to the downfall of the entire city. There were some samples of the T-Virus in that same briefcase, and is responsible for the zombification of the majority of the residents of Raccoon City, and a dying Kirkpatrick even became infected with the T-Virus, as we are able to see him here, zombified in the sewers as we navigate Leon through the sewer system in the campaign of Resident Evil 2. But what happened to Hunk? Well, Hunk, the last man left alive of Alpha Team, was alive with a G-sample in hand, surviving on his own for several days, as he finally became rescued in the early hours on September 30th after navigating the now completely contaminated sewers and Raccoon City Police Department. Hunk's mode, The Fourth Survivor, as part of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 2 Remake, is a recount of Hunk as he navigated from the zombie-infested sewers through the Raccoon City Police Department, even encountering the Tyrant. As a surprise to Hunk, Nighthawk, the pilot of the helicopter responsible for securing Hunk with the G-Virus, was awaiting Hunk just outside the RCPD. Upon asking him why he waited for him, Nighthawk sarcastically replied he, quote, wanted to meet the Grim Reaper.
Why'd you come back?
I wanted to meet the Grim Reaper.
Hunk then delivered the G-Virus to Umbrella after his survival of the Raccoon City incident. Hunk's The Fourth Survivor mode is intense and challenging, and is well worth playing to see just how badass a character Hunk is. Ever focused on the mission with an undying will to see every mission through to completion, Hunk has very little invested in the survival of his comrades and only desires to see his survival and success of the mission at hand. We are able to relive this very moment of Hunk briefly in Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles, and Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Not much else is known about Hunk following the events of Raccoon City, other than he was positioned back at Rockford Island and was assigned a mission to transport a special container from Umbrella's transport terminal in the Antarctic back to the island. Having been denied knowledge of what exactly was in the crate that needed transport, Hunk made it clear that he and his crew would be unprepared to tackle such a dangerous mission and would cause serious problems. This spout was with the island's base commander, Alfred Ashford, a key figure and player in Resident Evil Code Veronica. Later on in 2003, after the demise of Umbrella, Hunk created the fighting style CQBZ, abbreviated for Close Quarters Quarantine Battle Zone, which came with it a variety of gear and firearms to handle incredible swarms of zombies. You can see from this CQBZ fighting style, as shown in Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 Remake's Mercenaries mode, Hunk's savage neck-snapping ability with incredible prowess with submachine guns. Little else is known about this iconic warrior, as he is currently out there in the world, living at large. Perhaps we will see Hunk one day in a game of his own or featured more heavily in a future Resident Evil game. I don't know about you, but I'm itching for some more Hunk content in future Resident Evil installments. But what about you? Would you like to see more of the Grim Reaper? Are you enjoying playing as him in the Mercenaries and Resident Evil 4 Remake? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the compelling history about Hunk, consider hitting the like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you loved it. This is the second video of exploring Resident Evil 4 Remake's characters, and you can watch the first one here on your screen as we took a closer look at the tragic story of Luis Serra and his struggles to escape the demons of his past. Let me know in the comments what characters you'd like me to make a video on next. Thank you all for the awesome support, and I'll see you real soon in the next one. Peace.